Inside Mercer Basketball with Coach Bob Hoffman and your host Rick Cameron. Brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Wild Wing Cafe in Macon, Georgia. We're here once again to talk inside Mercer Basketball. Joined now by Mercer head coach Bob Hoffman. Coach, a lot has happened since we finished the season back last spring. Came up a little bit short in trying to win the ASUN Tournament at our building. We did. But then we turned around and had a tremendous postseason run, many accomplishments there. If you would, kind of walk us through what happened after the ASUN Tournament and that great run in the collegeinsider.com.
Well, we were fortunate to get into collegeinsider.com. Only so many teams get to play in postseason play in college basketball. It's like a football team getting a chance to play in a bowl game, being bowl eligible. We'd won enough games. It's the first time we've been in postseason play in a long, long time. And for us to get to host, we'd never done that. So the chance to play Georgia State at home in an old in-state rivalry, a tremendous win for us at home, great crowd, a great energy. We got that game won, and we had a lot of different people step up and make plays. And then we had Tennessee State at home, and we won that game. And that it propelled us to have to go on the road, play a tough Old Dominion team on the road. We won that one. We stayed in Virginia and got a sleeper bus, took it all the way up to Connecticut, and that was a long road. But we were able to play Fairfield, and we won that one on the road, came home, and then we had to fly all the way out to Utah to play Utah State, who had won countless number of home games and a tremendous home court advantage that they have. And our guys stepped up and won the collegeinsider.com on their court by 3 points. It was a tremendous championship game, and we had countless number of guys step up every game in different situations for us to get that victory. It was the first postseason championship for our university and our conference as far as a tournament win, so that was a big deal.
Coach, you just made a great point. Not only first postseason win, first postseason tournament win, and for the conference. At what point in that run, obviously going in, you thought, you and the team, okay, postseason play, let's win a game. What point did you think the players bought in? We might just win this thing.
Well, I think it's critical in those kind of situations. First of all, everybody that's going in that tournament is disappointed because they're not in the NCAA tournament. So the mindset of playing in those tournaments was very, very critical to having success. And so we approached it a little different. We made sure our guys understood what we could do and what had never been done. In the midst of this was a great opportunity for us and our program to go to another place and another level, and sure enough, they embraced it and they got better each game out. And I thought after about the first half of the first game, we really got into it and got to see what it could be, and they got fired up about trying to win games. And when you start doing that and you get the momentum going, anything can happen, and our guys did a fantastic job finishing that tournament.
Then there's the adjustment, not knowing from one game to the next. Once you win a game, where do we go next? Do we go home? Do we go on the road? Who's our opponent? So you really have to shoot, kind of go on the fly.
Yeah, well, the great thing for me is after games, I get to eat. So, you know, even though we didn't know who we were playing, I got to eat. I hadn't eaten all day, so I got some food, and that was always a blessing to get a little nourishment and just enjoy the win of what our guys had accomplished. And then we did find out it did take a little while, but it was a great tournament. We were thankful and grateful that they included us, and we got a chance to do something fantastic that they can't ever take away from us.
Coach, we broke so many records, team records, most wins in a season, most points in a season, most blocks. Daniel Corsi broke an individual record on blocks. So much was accomplished in that run. But before we leave the CIT, compare the environment that was in Logan, Utah to some of the others you've been in. To me, it was the most antagonistic crowd I've ever played in.
It's one of the best. I've been in a lot of them, and they're great college basketball fans. They're into the game. They understand the game at a high level. They were encouraging each other to be loud and boisterous, and they didn't have a band. They were their own noisemakers, and they didn't need a band because they were tremendous at being encouraging their team to play at a high level. And I thought for our guys to finish hitting all those free throws as we did in the face of that crowd, about 6,000 students on hand for that game, it was just a great journey and great finish.
Indeed it was, winning the collegeinsider.com tournament. Another great thing has happened here in Macon, and that's the renaming of the University Center Arena to Hawkins Arena. And we're going to now go to campus and visit with the folks that made that possible when we return on Inside Mercer Basketball.
I have purchased 5 Jeeps here at 5 Star, and my sister-in-law from Florida actually came up and purchased a Jeep here. The way you're treated, the satisfaction, the service, just overall good experience. And you know, for me to come back that many times speaks for itself.
So here's the game plan. Rush into the Wild Wing Cafe and tackle one of our new steakhouse burgers. 100% Angus, 100% great. It's an all-star lineup that can win you tickets to the biggest games of the year. Where? At the Wild Wing.
The Wild Wing. Well, since 2004, the Bears have called this home, this being the University Center. Up until this past year, it's always been the UC Arena. But thanks to the generosity of the folks I'm standing with now, Dr. Chuck and Kathy Hawkins, we've got a new name and a lot of excitement here at the new Hawkins Arena. Chuck, if you would, kind of give us a feel of how you became associated and your relationship with Mercer and Mercer Basketball.
Well, I met President Underwood several years ago, and we struck up an immediate friendship because he is such a basketball enthusiast as I've been, and he also is very big on academics as I've been, and then that's what my father stressed his whole life was academics first and basketball second. And so we just got to talking a lot, and then as time went by and Kathy and I started enjoying Mercer Basketball, which we really never participated in it until a few years ago. And he was talking one day and asked me, what about naming this after your dad? And so I went home and told Kathy, and we just thought that would be a great idea, and that's basically simply how it came about.
Well, certainly those of us that have had the privilege of feeling like we've got to know your dad through the case and the great information and his great record, but fourth winningest high school basketball coach in the state, and you know, we all do, this state has produced so many great players, so many great coaches, but tell us a little bit about your dad, the coach.
Well, he coached for 32 years and had a very high winning percentage over that time, and most every year we went to state and we won region maybe every other year or so, and you know, he taught a lot of players and students over the years and coached a lot of great players, and he was just real fond of all his players just like they were his children, and he followed them all along. And you know, he's to this day, to the day till he died, he kept up with them, and many of them came to his funeral even when he died. And so it's just a great way to give a tribute to him and the ideals he stood for. Now, you mentioned the great players he had at Crawford County. I want to mention a couple of those. First, Kenny Walker, University of Kentucky. Boy, what a great player he was. I think Kenny was his most prominent player, and actually Kathy and I kept up with Kenny at Kentucky because we sponsored a player from Macon that played at Kentucky for 4 years, and we would go up 7 or 8 times a year, and I'd always run into Kenny and give him a big old hug. Here's 2 Roberta people, and Kenny's still a movie star up there, even to this day. Now, there's another player, I always have to push this out of you, there's another player that was pretty darn good that helped win the '69 state championship. Tell us about the magic year and the state championship. Well, we won the state. That would be yourself, of course. Well, it was a good team effort, and we were very lucky that year. And we had 5 players that had played together since the 6th grade. And so we won the state in 1969, and it was a magical year for us, for sure. Mm-hmm. Kathy, this has to, with this being the Hawkins Arena forevermore, it will always be known as the Hawkins Arena. And I'm very much a family man myself, and I saw the joy in the faces of your family members a few days back as they come and reminisced over the pictures. Tell us what it means to you to have this arena named Hawkins Arena.
You know, it was really important to my kids because, you know, I never got the honor and privilege of watching him coach, but he came to all my kids' things and watched them, you know, whether it was basketball or piano recitals, it didn't matter, but just watching everybody come together, and of course it makes me kind of emotional, excuse me, but he was just such a humble man, and just to watch his big name up there is just really special to me. I never got to see him coach, but he coached from the stands when my kids were playing.
Yes, absolutely.
He would sit there kind of quietly coaching with Chuck. You just kind of hear him under his breath as he was doing play after play, and it's just such a honor for me to be in that family, and just to, you know, he was a great man. He was a great father-in-law. I know he was a great coach, but he would just be so tickled to see this. I think that he was so proud of Chuck, but you know, he was proud of basketball, but he was so proud of the academics.
Absolutely,
you know, how well both his children did, and he always stressed that with my kids. You know, that it was, you know, always study, always put your studies first. So, you know, it was just a great day, and it was a wonderful turnout that day. There were so many kids here. There were so many. I mean, it really humbled me to see all the people that came just to speak to us, where he'd made an impact on their life. And it was just it was a neat thing to see. All my kids came, and you know, a lot of their friends came, a lot of our friends came, and you know, his mother hasn't been to a basketball game with us in years, and she had. I mean, it was like she just had such a. She stayed up later than anybody else did that night. I mean, the rest of us had crashed, and she was still staying up. And I think she didn't realized till that day that this was about her too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You know, that she, you know, he might have won 1,000+ games, but she was probably at every one of them.
Absolutely.
I would suspect, and had to spend a few of them in the coach's office when she was too nervous watching Chuck play. You know, she had to go in there and
I've seen that.
You know, but now she wants to come to games.
Wonderful.
And she's been to games with us, and she's moving to Macon soon, and wants to be a part of Mercer Basketball.
I thought it was very much interesting. You were so kind to help us with all the great photographs of the family and Coach Hawkins and Mrs. Hawkins, but the one photograph that you wanted us to make sure we enlarged, and it will show up here momentarily, but I thought that one picture just kind of summed it up. Some pictures just don't need words, and that one picture of Coach Hawkins in action kind of summed it up of his leadership on the floor.
And I had never seen that to that day. I was out at their house, and she pulled that picture out, my mother-in-law, and I was like, that has to go in there.
Absolutely. Well, the naming of Hawkins Arena and the case it leads in to the arena, but now let's just quickly kind of walk in and let you see how this arena has changed. If you folks would, let's kind of just walk into the arena. And of course, this was always a good basketball arena. We've had some great wins here, some great games, Alabama, Florida State, Georgia Tech. But now as you walk in, the CIT banner, which is representing the collegeinsider.com championship, hangs. But the scoreboard has just gotten reviews from our students, faculty and staff, everyone that has entered the arena. We've got the fan cam, we've got folks dancing in the aisles. Chuck, is this anything at all what you envisioned when you thought about the renaming of the arena and what impact your family might have on this facility?
I had no idea it'd be this great. It's just amazing. It's a whole new dimension when you come to the ball games now, when you see the fans interacting, you see the players on the scoreboard, and just to see this huge scoreboard, it's very striking when you walk in. It's the center of the whole stadium here, and it's brought a whole new level of excitement even to us, and we like to be really close to the action, and it's really a new dimension here.
I think you summed it up very well. It is a whole new dimension, and I think this facility is now the premier within the Atlantic Sun Conference, and we go on the road a lot. We play at the major schools, Georgia Tech, Georgia, but wherever you go, now with this arena, and with this new scoreboard and the renaming of Hawkins Arena, this is as fine a facility as anywhere in the South, and we're so much indebted to you and your family, and forever and a day, Coach Hawkins' picture and his accomplishments out there, and with the investment that your family has made, we're so much indebted to you for the renaming of Hawkins Arena and what we now have to display when we play home basketball and volleyball.
Well, thanks, and we're very excited to do this. It's just been a real honor for us.
Dr. Chuck Hawkins and Kathy Hawkins, with whom Hawkins Arena is named here at the University Center on the Mercer campus. Well, we'll head back up to Wild Wing Cafe now and talk more inside Mercer basketball with head coach Bob Hoffman in just a moment.
Droid DNA augmentation initiated. Neural speeds increasing to 4G LTE. Brain upgrading to a quad-core processor. Precognitive intelligence with Google Now complete.
Introducing Droid DNA by HTC. It's not an upgrade to your phone, it's an upgrade to yourself.
I was looking through the paper and I saw a really good ad from 5-Star Ford and Warner Robins. So when I went, I was actually really picky and my salesperson worked with me until I finally found the truck that I liked, and it was a black Ford 2011 F-150 XLT Super Crew. And it actually has an EcoBoost, so it's a little bit better on gas, and I love it. I would definitely recommend 5-Star to all my friends.
Well, back at the Wild Wing, we're talking more inside Mercer basketball with Mercer head coach Bob Hoffman. Coach, fortunately, we did not lose a lot of players. We did lose a very good player, Justin Cecil, one of our starters, and a couple other guys. But if you will, share with the folks some of the players now that are the go-to people for this year's team.
Well, we have a lot of returners, as you mentioned. Justin Cecil's working on his pro career. He was a tremendous player for us, did some great things. He was a senior, graduated. We look for him to continue to do great things. We had some guys we've added to our roster. The first one's Anthony White. He's going to continue to be one of those kind of guys that can make shots, guard people, kind of utility guard. And he's had some good moments already for us. I think he'll continue to get into the understanding of what we're trying to accomplish in the days ahead. Came from Lakeland, Illinois Junior College, and we're excited that he's part of about 6'2" guard. Can get up. Ari probably has the most dunks on the team at this point. And then we have Dylan Poston out of South Carolina, 6'4" freshman guard, still trying to figure out all the nuances on the defensive end. He can score, but he's still trying to figure out the defense. And we have Lawrence Brown out of Kansas City, another freshman, 6'6" post guy, can really play. Both those guys haven't got many minutes yet, but at the end of the day, they're going to help us before it's all said and done, because they both have great basketball instincts, and they're still trying. There's just so much flying at you when you first come in, figure that out. And then the last gentleman won't be playing this year, Ike Nwamu, is a transfer. He's setting out from Cleveland State, and he'll have 3 years. Strong, looks like a pulling guard, or I don't know what he looks like, but he can. He's strong. Let's just put it that way.
All right, Coach, and of course, as we look to the guys that we count on and have for several years, I guess it starts. Let's talk about our 2 seniors first.
Yeah, Travis Smith is playing really good right now, making all kinds of plays. He's on a tear. You know, he's making shots when we need him to make shots. He's stepped up in a big way. He plays great defense besides that, but he's taking it on his shoulders a little bit, I think, to take a little of the burden of what we need to do offensively. And then Chris Smith is probably one of the best guys I've ever coached as far as just being there when you need him, doing everything possible to help the team win. Fantastic guy. Already got a chance to get a great job. He's graduating with a business finance degree. So both those guys will be graduating this spring, and they're working hard to make our team better every day.
Chris Smith, 109 games in a row that he has played for you since he first made his way on the scene.
Well, and he's going to, I told him he's got a chance to graduate as the winningest senior in Mercer history. And you probably haven't thought about that, but I mean, he probably will.
Amazing,
yeah, he probably will if we can finish the way we'd like in this season.
Now, in the coming weeks, we'll be talking and interviewing all of our players, and we'll go over. I know we've got such a strong junior class, we don't even want to think about senior day next year. That's a nightmare.
No.
But certainly losing Langston Hall to injury the first couple of games, the big concern early on is getting
5 games.
Get him back 100%. yeah, 5 games was more than a couple.
Yeah, I remember him well. That's why I knew what it was. Yeah, he missed 5. It's great to have him back. He's a great floor leader. He understands the game, tries to get guys in the right place. He's still trying to get some of his strength and his flexion and quickness back. He's still not 100%, but even him at 85, 90% is a great asset for our program and our team, and we're just fortunate to have him. I think he's going to have a great finish to the year. He missing those 5 games, I think, really set him and us back a little bit, but we're glad he's a part of what we're doing now.
But even at that, we've had some great wins that we're going to discuss in just a moment when we return at the Wild Wing Cafe to talk more inside Mercer basketball.
Football!
So here's the game plan. Rush into the Wild Wing Cafe and tackle one of our new steakhouse burgers. 100% Angus, 100% great. It's an all-star lineup that can win you tickets to the biggest games of the year. Where?
As a business owner, you need to choose the financial direction that's best for you to find a clear path to growth and success. At BB&T, we support businesses of all sizes with personal service and advice, sharing the sound financial knowledge we've gained over more than 140 years so you can move ahead with confidence. Talk to us today about your business goals. BB&T, sharing knowledge for a brighter direction.
Well, we're back at the Wild Wing Cafe talking inside Mercer Basketball with Bob Hoffman. Coach, you're going to become known as the BCS Buster. I don't know if you realize that or not. You've had such big wins since you've been at Mercer. Already this year, if we had looked at the non-conference games and the fans had said, what games can we get excited about? You nailed 2 of the 3. Didn't quite get the one at Athens, but big road wins at Florida State, the defending Atlantic Coast Conference champion, and going into Tuscaloosa against a very athletic Alabama team. Yeah, that was great wins for our program. Our guys stepped up in both contests at Florida State and Alabama. We had guys make plays, all kinds of plays, different ways to make it happen. But really our defense was the key element in us winning those games, and we rebounded. Daniel Coursey was fantastic at Alabama, hit huge shots, had 20 for us to get the victory. We had a team victory at Florida State, and they're all-American candidate, got 2 shots. Snare, he got 2 shots the whole game, so we had a lot of different people on him. And I think those are the kind of things that set you apart as a program when you're mid-major, the opportunity to go on the road and win those type games. We've won 5 now of those in 5 years, and we had a chance at Georgia. We just didn't shoot the ball very good. We held them down and played really good defense, but were able to hit some shots. Then we had Wake Forest beat and ended up losing by 3 at the buzzer in the Virgin Islands, and you could just go back to a lot of games. But anyway, it was a good non-conference season, and you look at it, the way I understand it, I mean, it was since 1983 or 84, it's the first time we've had back-to-back winning records in a non-conference season, so that's a huge deal when you know all the bye games you got to play, and you got to play these kind of different venues and go different places. And for our program and where we're at right now, I think that was a great statement, and for us to get that last victory, to get to 7-6 right before Christmas, you couldn't ask for a better present. And with that kind of success in the non-conference schedule and not many home games, Coach, we traveled over 9,000 miles, so most of those games, Andy Stabell tallied the 9,000 miles, talked about how much we've been traveling. He's our odometer man. Yeah. Certainly, that to me adds even more merit to the success, most of those on the road. Right, we had 4 home games. I mean, we had 4 home games, 9 out of our building, and our building, as you saw earlier in the program, it's a nice place, and it's even nicer now. We really thank the Hawkins for what they were able to do to make a difference in our program, a huge difference in our program. But to go on the road and play those 9 games, and essentially the true road games, we were 3-3. That was big in non-conference play, and if we can continue to do that, that's what we got to do now. Moving into conference play, we've got to finish strong and understand who we are as a team, and continue to build this identity that we want to win those games on the road, because that's how you win a championship. Now, Coach, there's an old cliche: you can win any night, you can lose any night, but in our conference this year already, it's played out that anybody can win, anybody can lose. But fortunately for us, we held serve the first 2 games at home, 2-1 out of the gate, and that's as good as anybody in the league thus far. Right. I mean, right now as we film this, Upstate's undefeated, but they played 2 road games. Yeah, they're 2-0, and everybody else has at least 1 loss, which makes you believe that it could be a crazy year in the conference from that standpoint, when you're only 3 games in and everybody but 1 team has 1 loss. I think there's going to be amazing close games as we get closer to conference tournament play, and there's going to be a lot on the line. There's multiple teams that could win the league, and they have great players that can. We got a lot of guys that can go off for 40 or 50 on given nights to make a big difference in outcomes of game, and we've got to be on our best behavior, so to speak,
each night out playing defense to have a great chance to win against these teams.
Coach, one final question I think we have time for today. Coming in as the preseason favorite, I don't know the last time that's happened, but with that crosshair on our chest, does that make a difference to your team at this point?
Well, to me, it's an honor. We embrace it. That's good. I hope it happens every year, because when you're at that point, that means people believe you're in a position to win it, and that's where you want to be. You don't want to be picked last, because that means you're in a position not to win a game. So now we're there. We haven't finished it. It's something we've got to do as a program. We got to find a way to win this league. We haven't won it since 2003. We hadn't been to the tournament since 1985, the NCAA tournament, that is. And I think those are big hurdles for us. That's 10 years ago since we won it, and then before that, I think it was 85 again. So there's lots of reason to continue to build this and take what others have said and use it as momentum and use it as motivation to be the best at the end. But it's not going to be easy.
Yes.
That collegeinsider.com championship makes people believe you're even better than you probably are from that standpoint. And then on top of that, we have a lot of returners, and then everybody picking us. Everybody in the country's picked us to win the league. We just got to go back and say, hey, this is who we are. Everybody believes these things, but what we've got to do is stay within ourselves, keep working hard, believe the best in each other, and work every day like we know we can be the best. And eventually, at the end of the day, I think that can happen. It's happened a lot of other places we've been in the past, and it's happened just like this. So we hope this is our year, and we believe it can be. All
right, Coach, the next 9 weeks can be a lot of fun. We've got one more chance in our building before the tournament may go somewhere else.
Yep, that's
first
right.
week of March. So we're certainly we'll look forward to each and every week gathering here at Wild Wing, and with the anticipation of the Atlantic Sun Conference Championships at Hawkins Arena the first week of March. Thanks for joining us. Hope you'll be back with us next week when we talk more inside Mercer Basketball.
Oh!